Hello folks, this is Gabriel ILiadis with songwriterandproducer.com, and today I will continue with the second video of the remix production process of an original song I wrote and produced about a year ago called Suddenly. You can find the song on YouTube on my channel, Songwriter and Producer, and if you click on Originals, it's right here, Suddenly. I would like to ask you to also visit the website, songwriterandproducer.com, where you'll find a blog of articles and videos that I and other people upload specifically to producers and songwriters, and also a song critique section. And if you click on blog, you'll find everything we write about and discuss. You can always reach me at right here, Gabriel at songwriterandproducer.com. If you go to the About section, you'll find me here. Under here, this is my name. Click on me, you'll find my bio, and the email is here also. I would also like to see you like the Facebook page. We're almost at 500 likes here. In this recent effort of coming together as aspiring songwriters and producers and talking about what's in our head. If you would like me to help you be hosted as a blog guest for songwriterandproducer.com and be featured, please email me or message me. And finally, there's a Twitter account, because of truncation, Songwriter and Produce at Songwriter and PR. Okay, so I'll put a link here to the previous video, the first video, this is the second. In the previous video, we saw how I rebuild the rhythm section for the verse. So up to now we have this.
Suddenly, my beating heart is beating again freely, 'cause I have found what I thought impossible. My misery I thought to be unstoppable. My dreams have fled, my future was unbreakable. Suddenly, everything has changed within me. I'm finally becoming who I'm supposed to be. The detriment is gone, I feel so free. A rainbow painted in the sky, what I foresee.
Okay. Let me remind you how this sounded. With the original mix, I will skip the intro.
Suddenly, my beating heart is beating again freely, 'cause I have found what I thought impossible. My misery I thought to be unstoppable. My dreams have fled, my future was improbable. Suddenly, everything has changed within me. I'm finally becoming who I'm supposed to be. The detriment is gone, I feel so free. A rainbow painted in the sky, what I foresee.
All right.
It's more than...
Okay, so almost zero percussion with the original mix. Okay, very, very different here. Very different.
I'm finally becoming who I'm supposed to be. The detriment is gone, I feel so free. A rainbow painted in the sky, what I foresee.
So I keep talking about the value of motif. In almost any video, I find the opportunity to do so. I feel that motif is the most important element for a successful song, for a successful melody, for something that's catchy, something that lasts. I think that this rhythm section adds motif, or adds to the characteristics of motif for the verse. It makes the syncopation of the words, of the lyrics, come to life in a more intense way. So in this video, I'm gonna stay with the verse and show you what else I've come up with and show you one of the arpeggiators I found. I'll jump right into the VST. A lot of you may know this. It's Omnisphere. I have picked this particular one and made a few changes I'm not going to go through in this video. And through the use of MIDI, we have this.
Suddenly, everything has changed within me. I'm finally becoming who I'm supposed to be. The detriment is gone, I feel so free. A rainbow painted in the sky, what I can see.
Okay, so this is right from the VST. So what that means is that there's a number of FX inserts that are applied, all of these. So let's hear this dry. I'm gonna turn these on. This is an EQ. This is a chorus, a delay, and a compression. Now this, right away, because there's a lot of delay here, this is a very busy sound. I also have further EQing an imager and the C6 sidechain. I usually add a VST track and do not have a lot of complicated things here, but I do it when that helps me pick the sound better. Okay, when that carves the sound in a way so it's tucked in correctly, it's placed correctly, away from other things, etc. All the things we're trying to do as producers and mixers with inserts. In addition to those, we have these, so there's a lot of inserts here. In an early stage of production that usually I do some processing of the sound with the VST, and then I print it, like down here. We'll see it down here when I printed it, and then I add. Look at that. There's a lot more here. Let me pause here and go back to the sound and talk about the sound. This, because of the delay, this is pretty busy. What does this being pretty busy mean to us? Right away, I'm thinking as a producer that there's not going to be much more I'm going to be able to do around this type of frequency. And let's see, what did I do here? Well, first, let's see the frequency plus the carvings I made. Look at that. Okay. I have extensively talked about the idea of adding or reducing EQ frequencies on a side level, on a side basis. Right side only, left side only, and look over here. Everything I've done except the cut, the low cut, is targeted on a specific side through experimentation, through educated guesses. One of the things I love about this tool is that it shows us where frequencies lie graphically, in a graphical manner. So I know that over here is the fat part of what's happening. So I know that between 200 and 2000, there's not much that I'm going to be able to put in or a successfully placed way. Vocals are usually between 1K and 5, 1 and 10, depending 2 and 10, depending on the vocal. So already we're clashing a little. Maybe that's why only on the left side it makes sense to add around 1.5K. That leaves the right side. That leaves space for the right side for other things to be placed on the right side. Busy sound is my first thought. I have done productions where I've had 100 tracks, a lot of things happening, and I've done productions where I had 12 tracks. So this already is telling me that if I keep this sound with so much action around it, with so much richness around it, I'm not going to have much space to put much more. Okay, especially around the frequency range that this one is busy. Well, let's turn off the VST And let's find where I printed and I worked with the sound. And it looks like this being the track that I printed this and made the rest of the decisions with respect to mixing. So I only added an imager. Also have automated. I have 2 imagers, one off, one on. So that means that later there are decisions made. And let's see. Okay, so this one, for example, is on throughout, but then there's another one that turns on over here. Good reason for that, but that's not the verse. So let's stay over here. So 2 imagers interchangeably being turned on and off with 2 different settings. I like to do this many times when I don't want to, automate the settings. I automate the whole tool. That's one way to do it, which is faster in my opinion. So just imaging, that means that the reason I don't have much here is because a lot of the processing happened on the VST track. I'm switching hats between mixing and producing. This is the main point of songwriter and producer.com. This is the objective. The main objective is, I believe that songwriters that have the capability to learn the basics about producing, and I will include mixing in there, of course, will benefit from that skill because they'll have a lot more control over their songs. You can give your song to any producer, good or bad, to do their work on it. You having that capability adds to the output. This is the main objective. I am the songwriter, I am the producer, I am the mixer. May not be the best at every single thing, but me having enough knowledge of all these jobs, because it's a team of people, right, that work around in the music industry. One is a really good mixer, the other is a good mastering engineer, another does the production, another the A&R, the songwriter, the lyricist. But understanding all of those is my objective, because it gives a holistic view around the outcome. And in the end, I believe you become the leader of that team inadvertently because you provide direction, because you understand everybody's job. And that's the objective of why I created something that is about songwriters and producers equally. Back to the song. Let's hear the sound after it was printed and tucked in or placed with respect to imaging. You see clip gain over here. Okay, you notice that this happens. Let's talk about this. Again, we're surgically now kind of zooming in into the world of mixing again, the mixing engineer. And look, over here, you can see that the levels are different. Well, that took place because of this guy. Not the C6, it's the C6 sidechained. So it's ducking performed on the sound while it was printed off of bus 17. If I put the vocal on, I bet you over here, the singer stops singing or has a pause, and that's why this is upped. Let me put just one main vocal.
Found what I thought impossible. My misery I thought to be unstoppable. My dreams have fled, my future was improbable.
There you go. And this is a perfect example, live example of how ducking works. Separate video, separate tutorial. She stops, I'll start over here. She sings, sound suppressed. Let's use very simplistic lingo. She stops singing, we go up and come down again when she starts. Look at this.
Suddenly.
And I applied clip gain here. I went down 7.4. We've built our drums. We've built one very busy arpeggio, and we're here.
Suddenly, my beating heart is beating again freely.
I mean, let's not lose reference, right? Let's compare.
Suddenly, my beating heart is beating again freely.
Okay.
Suddenly,
different song.
My beating heart is beating again freely.
What have we done up to now? We have changed the rhythmic signature of this song while keeping the lyrics and the way the lyrics were sung identical. 3 tracks of drums, no bass yet. A 4th for the fill-in, very small. I want to count that. And then 1 arpeggio, and you have this already. So this song, one could think that it's starting to form now.
Suddenly, my beating heart.
Okay, from a production perspective. Then I came around and found this arpeggio. I'll show you the printed and processed sound. But let me take everything out. Well, I'll leave the drums. I'll take the other arpeggio and the vocal out. So it's drums plus the new arp. Look at that. This sound resides from, 20, where I'm cutting it, to mostly up to 2K, mostly up to 500. So, oh, I love this. I love what happened here. I love this. This is how I did this. ORB functionality, incredibly powerful. These kinds of arpeggios remind me of the good old days of between 1988 and 1996 Depeche Mode Arps. My favorite arpeggiators, for those that know what I'm talking about, the album Violator from Depeche Mode. Listen to that, you'll hear a lot of this kind of sound. As you see, there's no automation on the ORB that I talked about before, so that means that I did it manually. So as this was playing, what I did was and I did it over here, right around here now. Why? Because the singer stops here. It's the same spot where we have the singer pausing, the lyrics pausing, and everything upping. A good way to add chromatic effect. Chromatic effect, chroma, from the word chroma, which in Greek means color. To add color to our sound. So while it is static over here, static, it does a specific rhythmic pattern it follows right here. We want to do something else. I exaggerated that to make the point, but this is what happened. I'm turning this off now. I'm going to go to the printed sound. This is what happened here. Okay, so now let's hear how this sounds with the vocals. Not all of them, just one track, just for effect, just so we see how it sits. And then I'm going to turn on the other arpeggiator, see how everything changes.
Suddenly, my beating heart is beating again freely.
It is very obvious, I think, that this sound is a bassy sound. So I talked about the fact that I don't have any bass before. Well, it's not a classic bass sound, but it's very bassy. Let's look at the graph here.
Suddenly, my beating.
So we're from here to about here. So from 20 to 500, very thick.
Suddenly,
right here.
My beating heart.
And then it goes all the way, it goes down to 2K. And then look, I upped on the left side only above 10K or so, about 5K. I'm sure there was good reason. I liked what I heard better. And we can see down here, things are a lot more pronounced here. Look at this.
Suddenly.
So 10 to 20K, there is a rise, a very steep curve upward. So I leave this space, by the way, only on the left side. So I leave this space for the vocals to sit. But again, I never, ever go by a visual way of representing any sound, right? My ears is what I make the final decisions on. Sometimes they're consistent, the visual and the sound, but sometimes not. I don't want to tell you that, hey, as long as this happens on the graph, then yeah, it's a good mix. No, it doesn't work that way. It works the way you hear things.
Suddenly.
Then I duplicated the sound, I remember. I printed it again, and look, with different plugins. Let's see how this sounds. Very, very different sound. Very, very different. Let's see this again on the visual. So together, so on the left we have the first, on the right the second, but I'll turn these off. They're not relevant. What matters is that this sound, although it's been, I guess, sourced from the same VST, so this sound was this before, plus the different processing with the effects. So if I turn these off, see? Okay, so you can tell that the origins of this sound, the only thing I hear is that I went an octave up on my MIDI, and that's the difference. Let's turn all of these off on this one also. Okay, very simple, very simple. The bass of the arpeggiator, the same arpeggiator at the top, and then one octave up at the bottom, and I have, you can see from the size of the wave of the audio that this is turned down because it's louder, it's less pronounced, so it fits together. A lot of processing, 4 and 5 different plugins here, but in the end, we have this.
Cause I have found what I thought impossible. My misery I thought to be unstoppable. My dreams have fled, my future was...
Right now, as I'm listening to this, I'm thinking that this second one I don't like. I don't know what made me decide on that. Maybe as I'm putting more of the production, things will make more sense, but it muddies up things. It makes this beautiful bass arpeggiator less clear, and it does not add a lot of good things. So I'm going to put the first ARP we heard on with everything else, with the vocal, and see what we hear. Everything changed just now. Do you see? This is a perfect example of how one sound by itself, when soloed, or two sounds, add one more thing to 10 other things you did, and those other 10 things change the perspective. So,
my beating heart is beating again freely. Cause I have found what I thought impossible.
I'll take this out. I'll take this out. I'll take the second of the bass arpeggiators plus one octave out.
Cause I have found what I thought impossible. My misery I thought to be unstoppable. My dreams have fled, my future was ungrabable.
Do you see how it adds to the thickness? So it is an additive sound. And it showed its additive characteristics when I put this on. When I added to the mix the first arpeggiator I talked about. It's amazing how they interact with each other. This is one of the basic lessons of producing and mixing music. You add one thing, you're like, but then when you add something else, the previous one makes a lot more sense. This is why this job, rather this hobby, depending on what it is for you, is endless. the combination of sound variables. The combinations are endless.
Suddenly, everything has changed within me. I'm finally becoming who I'm supposed to be. The detriment is gone, I feel so free. A rainbow painted in the sky, what I foresee.
Instrumental on the chorus. I love that. By the way, let me talk about this again. This is ORB once again. And yes, we are in the chorus, but do you hear the variation? Let's find out which track is variating like this. It's this. It's this, and let's see if this also is one. Uh-huh. There you go. Okay. It's these two sounds, and they're variating in a custom way. Yeah, I did this while I was printing it. The listener doesn't realize that, but it keeps them interested in the sound because the sound does not stay constant. Okay, you don't want to have too much of the same thing, otherwise it's boring. Do you hear the harmonics? Perfect example right here. So in the beginning, this will be the lower register of the frequency, I guess. We hear a lot of bass, and then we hear the harmonics very high up, like a distorted guitar almost. And ORB is responsible for that. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Let's zoom out, go back to, put production hat on, taste, decision-making on what should go on, how much, and all that. This, to me, is forming now, right? 3 arpeggios, and it sounds very thick and rich. Just 3 arpeggios and 3 tracks for the drums, plus the vocal.
Suddenly.
Let me put some more vocal tracks now, because now they'll make sense.
Suddenly, my beating heart is beating again freely.
Very nice. I like this.
'Cause I have found what I thought impossible. My misery I thought to be unstoppable. My dreams have fled, my future was improbable.
Maybe a fill it here. We gotta do something here.
Suddenly, everything has changed within me. I'm finally becoming who I'm supposed to be. The detriment is gone, I feel so free. A rainbow painted in the sky, what I foresee.
Let's go back and add reference. Again, let's see where we were.
Suddenly, my beating heart is beating again freely. 'Cause I have found what I thought impossible. My misery I thought to be unstoppable. My dreams have fled, my future was improbable. Suddenly, everything has changed within me. I'm finally becoming who I'm supposed to be. The detriment is gone, I feel so free. A rainbow painted in the sky, what I foresee.
All right.
It's more than.
Which one is better? You decide. But my point is that it's very different, isn't it? Again, with the same exact vocal, lyrics, the way it was sang, everything is the same. Let me put in that duduka, by the way, which everybody thinks is a sax. because I kept it in. So, well, we'll listen to this here.
Fled, my future was unguardable. Suddenly,
Perfect.
everything has changed within me. I'm finally becoming who I'm supposed to be.
Thumbs up on this.
The detriment is gone, I feel so free. A rainbow painted in the sky, what I foresee.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about the second fourth of the verse. This is something I discussed in the previous video. And I talked about the fact that, you know, the first 3/4, the rhythm section was pretty much the same with the chaos maker from Stylus. I guess it's the equivalent of ORB in a way for me, right here, the chaos designer. I talked about this in the previous video. I added variation. And now that we see it with the rest of the instrumentation, it kind of shines, especially over here. Look, this kick drum.
So free, a rainbow painted in the sky. That your man is gone, I feel so free.
Actually, when she says free, this thing becomes busy. Okay, again, see, we are compensating. There are holes that we find the space as producers. We find space and we fill it with variations. Very, very important skill, very important characteristic of becoming a producer. So she says free, and it's a constant syllable. It's a constant vowel. Kick drum becomes busy.
So free, so free. Man is gone, I feel so free. Man is gone.
Mend is gone. Okay, mend is gone. 3, and you know this thing hits on 2 of them.
Man is gone.
And then look.
Man is gone. I feel so free. Oh.
Feel. First of all, feel on the snare. Feel right here.
I feel. Man is gone. I feel.
Exactly to the fact that it's exactly on the syllable. Very, very important. It adds to the motif, the correct effect of the motif. Kick drum, feel. I feel so free. The first feel on the snare.
Man is gone, I feel so free.
Variation, so free, her break in a way, and waits for the next syllable, the next lyric. Kick drum becomes busy.
I feel so free. A rainbow painted in the sky. I feel so free.
So let's hear the whole thing here.
Becoming who I'm supposed to be. The detriment is gone, I feel so free. A rainbow painted in the sky, what I foresee.
Okay, another variation here.
In the sky, what I foresee. In the sky, what I foresee.
This is the only time that the snare hits twice. So it surprises the listener. The listener is looking for this.
I thought to be unstoppable. My dreams have fled, my future was unguardable.
Okay, constant and steady, and yes, we got your rhythm here. 3/4. Here, on the 4/4, the first half of the 4/4 is off the beat one way, and the second half is off the beat another way. Don't forget we have the fill-in in the second half.
Painted in the sky, what I foresee.
I love this. This is, write to me, email me. What do you think about what else should be added here? I am building this as we speak. I don't think I have much more. I do have a lot happening in the chorus I'll talk about in the next video. Thank you for watching. This was Gabriel ILiadis with songwriterandproducer.com.